go.
Hi, I'm Jane Rafter from JCW Fitness, and I'm just going to run through a mini workout with you with some traditional Pilates exercises, and we're going to target the whole body but especially the abs. So we're going to start standing tall, shoulders back and down. A little bit of softness in the knees, navel to spine, making sure that the tailbone isn't sticking out. Take a breath, nod the chin and roll down to the floor. So imagine one vertebra at a time rolling forwards. We'll just stretch the hamstrings here for a sec. And we're going to come onto all fours, hands and knees. In this position, your hands are ideally underneath your shoulders and not in front. And your knees are underneath your hips and not behind them. It's handy to have a mirror actually to check that. A lot of people in neutral all fours think they're in neutral when actually they're like this. So it is useful actually to have a look. Your back should be really flat, shoulder blades down the back. So don't let your shoulders bunch up. So we're going to take the muscle down the side of the back here, the lats, and we're going to draw those shoulders right down. So we're going to lift the belly now without flexing the spine. And again, it's very tricky to do that. We've got to learn to pull up through the belly button, feel the tightness through the lower abs. There's no movement in the back, so I'll just show you that again. I'm going to take a breath. As I exhale, I'm going to lift the tummy. I'm going to engage the pelvic floor as well. And I'm going to take another breath. I'm just going to hover the knees off the floor. And that is intensifying the work through my core section, my tummy, and also through my shoulders. And release. If you tend to get cramp, you can tuck your toes under if you want to and do it like that. So I'm going to take a breath. I've locked the shoulders down the back. I've lifted the belly button. I'm going to engage the pelvic floor. I'm just going to hover. And I'm going to breathe at the same time. And release. Take a breath to rest. Lift the belly. Take a breath to prepare. Shoulders down. And hover again. Breathe to hold. And release. Fantastic. Should we do one more? Take a breath to get ready. Lift up through your tummy. Exhale and hover. Breathe in and hold. It's quite hard, harder than it looks this. Knees down. Just going to get you to sit back and take a breather for a sec. And we're going to do some side plank work. So I'm going to come down onto my forearm. I'll show you the different levels and the ways that you can make it easier or harder. The most important thing is that you don't collapse in this shoulder. Watch this. This is a sunbathing position, but this is a Pilates side plank position. We want to go for this. Have a look at the ribs. I'm just going to get the ribs and lift them up. So there's a bigger gap between the bottom rib cage and the floor. So that's our starting position. Shoulders lifted, rib cage lifted. I'm going to leave my knees on the floor. I'm just going to lift the hips up and release. Take a breath and lift and release. You can do what you want really with this bottom arm. Sometimes lifting it in the air gives you a sense of lifting and it helps you to get a little bit higher, but if you want you can keep your arm here. Just do that one more time. Now if this is hard enough for you, stay on this level. You will get tired here. If you start collapsing, take a breather. If you want to work really hard, extend your legs, and it is harder. So take a deep breath and lift. Now I'm having to work much harder through my waist and my shoulder to hold my body weight like this. Release, take a breath and lift. Inhale to hold, exhale and release. I'm going to do two more. Breathing out to lift. So I'm trying to get a straight line in this plank position and release. One more. Getting really tired here now. Brilliant. And release it. So I'm just going to get you to lie down and stretch out the shoulder and just relax there for a minute. And I'm going to whiz you over onto the other side and run through the same thing on the other side. So we'll start with our level one, setting it all up. Lifting up out of the shoulder, pushing the ribs up, keeping the knees on the floor, just lift. Inhale, hold. Exhale, release. Breathe out. Breathe in to hold. Exhale, release. You can bring your arm down or up, it's up to you. Doesn't matter. What goes on here is important, and here. Just do what feels right with that floating arm, doesn't matter. Should we do 2 more here? Then we're going to go on to our level 2, if you want to. This is working the underneath side of the waist. This is where I can feel the work, right here in the obliques, on the underneath side. So we're going to go to level 2 if you want to, so you're going to extend your feet. Make sure you stay lifted through the ribs and through the shoulders, and exhale and lift. Inhale to hold, exhale to release. I'm just going to come up the mat a bit because my ankle's on the floor there. That's better. Exhale and lift. Inhale and hold. Exhale and release. Can you hear my voice is wobbling a bit? That's how hard this exercise is. It's really challenging. Really feeling the work there and here. Can I manage 2 more? I'm going to try. 1. And release. Last one. Brilliant. And extend that bottom arm just to relax the shoulder. Okay, I'm going to take you through some abdominal work. So we need to start on our back. We want to be in tabletop position, which is where the knees are above the hips and the feet are in line with the knees, and we want to go to imprint. Now, imprint is when you press your lower back into the floor and you sink the belly button towards the spine. And the worst thing you can do in this exercise, what I'm going to show you in a second, is to lose imprint. Imprint is not complicated, it's just a case of pushing the lower back into the floor. This is the opposite, the lower back coming up and the belly coming up. So the belly comes down and the lower back comes down also. Okay, so if you lose that, you need to draw yourself back and make the exercise easier. So if this is challenging enough for you, stay here. If you want to add some intensity, you can start to drop one leg towards the floor. Now if you get to here and you find that you're lifting, then draw your leg back. You've got to be in tune with what's going on here and not just focusing on where your legs go to, because some people do this and they think that they're doing it really well because they're getting to the floor, but unfortunately that's not the case. You've got to keep this still. So imagine that this section of your body is set in concrete and that only your legs can move. And your legs are light objects that are just flowing around, and it doesn't compromise what's going on here. So what we're doing basically is we're using the weight of the legs, which are quite heavy things, to challenge our imprint position. So some of you at this point, I hope, are coming just halfway. Some of you are staying still. Some of you are tapping the floor, and they are in fact called toe taps. And they're harder than they look if you're doing them right. So I'm going to get you to do another 2, 1 on each leg. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Fantastic. Place your hands behind your left leg and extend your legs in the air. And we're going to drop the right leg down. We're going to do scissors. Very common Pilates exercise this, but very easy to do wrong. So what I'm going to do is lift my head off the floor and then show you the difference between lifting the head off the floor and really engaging your abdominals to lift your shoulders up. This is where you need to be. If you do the exercise like this, it's not going to work, right? So grab hold of your leg, lift from here, close the gap between your chest and your belly button, draw your shoulders down. Look at this. You can see that's going to hurt the neck. So are we set with the shoulders down and a nice strong lift? Bring this leg up and swap legs. Hold on to the other leg, take a breath. Exhale up, inhale, hold. If you want to make it harder, you swap your legs further away. So watch, at the point that they swap, they're going to be further away, and that's more difficult. Because basically, I've got the weight of both legs challenging what's going on with my abdominals. And I'm trying not to create tension in the neck. I'm trying to keep my neck relaxed. I admit some people do find this a bit tricky. If it's not for you, you could always default to this instead, holding onto your head. Some people do prefer that. But if you can get yourself high enough, it should release the tension in your neck. Make sure your shoulders are drawn down your back. Now you should be feeling it here. We're going to go 8, 7, 6, 5. Keep yourself lifted, use your hands. 3, I think it is, 2, and 1. Well done. Relax. Put your head onto the floor. Bring your knees into your chest. Deep breath. I'm going to take you through shoulder bridge, which again is a very popular Pilates exercise and in my opinion often done wrong. So I'm going to hopefully show you what to do and what to avoid. You want to start with your feet hip width apart with your knees. So not out here, guys, and not with your knees in or out. You want to keep them nice and straight. Go to your imprint that we discussed before, and then from here tilt your pelvis. So what happens is your bum comes off the floor, but not your lower back yet, right? So just your bum comes off the floor. Check your knees out, should be still in alignment. Gauge the pelvic floor and sink the belly. What we're going to try and do is lift one vertebra at a time from the bottom up to the top. Now what I'm going to do, look at the ribs. I'm just going to push them in, and that's going to help me lift one vertebra at a time. When you're up in this shoulder bridge position, make sure that you don't arch your back like this. This is really important that you get the ribs flat. So watch this. Got rid of the rib cage, flattened it out. I feel I've got more space here, and then I can flow down from the top of the spine. Look, I'm going to come down one vertebra at a time. I'm just going to come back and show you what happens if you don't flatten your ribs. If you keep your ribs here, watch this, you can't flow through the spine. It's impossible. This might help you to get them flat. If you cough, pushes your ribs out of the way, and then you can float down. Now try not to squeeze your bum too hard. Come back through that lower back and into neutral. Take a breath. Exhale and go to imprint and tilt the pelvis again. Take another breath and continue to lift. Feel the knees push forward. We inhale at the top. It might help you to push your ribs with your hands. Get rid of that bottom rib. Don't let it stick up. Press between your shoulder blades. Go one vertebra at a time through to the lower back and into neutral. Let's do that again. Take a breath. Exhale and tilt. I always inhale here and then take another breath to lift. This is really good again for abdominal control and strength and spinal mobility. It's really lovely to stretch out the back like this. Should we do one more? Here we go. Exhale and lift. Breathe in. Exhale and continue. We're going to hold at the top and roll down. Brilliant. Just hug your knees in for a second. We'll do some back extensions and then we'll finish. So I'm going to get you to turn over. Place your hands and your elbows on the floor. Make sure that your shoulders are away from your ears. So make sure that you don't end up like this. Okay, so on the chin nodded, elbows on the floor, shoulder blades miles from your ears. Don't let them try and climb into your ears. We're going to keep them away. Try and switch your bum off. Take a breath and exhale and lift. Breathe in and hold. And exhale and release. So I'm feeling the muscles through my lower back really working and the midsection to lift me up. You've got a little bit of help from your arms here. So if you get to say here, naturally, to improve at these, if you use your hands and your elbows, just gently press into them without turning it into a press up. It'll help you get a little bit higher. So we're going to do it again. We're going to exhale and lift. Inhale and hold, exhale and release. And when I'm up at the top, of my back extension, I'm actively drawing the shoulders down the back so that they don't bunch up. I'm going to do another 4. Exhale and lift, breathe in and hold. Exhale and release. You should be feeling it all down the back here. Let's do 3. Try not to squeeze your bum. Put your bum to sleep. Last 2. Fantastic. Let's do our last one. Here we go. Exhale and lift. Breathe in and hold. And exhale and release. And now you're going to need a back stretch. So come on all 4s. Stretch out your back. Flatten your back. Lift your head, lift your bums. Stretch it out again. Feels lovely. Feels really nice. We'll do one more. Fabulous. Well done and enjoy the programme.